So I really think that Ryan Dancy has said it better than most when he says that there are people inside Wizards who fought hard for this. They needed and got our support during the fight, and knowing that they were not alone had to have helped sustain them over that time. We may never know who they are or what they did, but the end result speaks for itself. And of course, he's talking about the fact that yesterday, as I talked about in the video that we put out in the afternoon, as soon as we got news of it, uh, Wizards of the Coast made an announcement that they are shutting down the survey for OGL 1.2, considering that they've already gotten over 15,000 people, and the feedback was overwhelmingly like 90% across the most of those questions don't touch the OGL. And they came out and made a statement and said, we are leaving the OGL 1.A in place as is untouched. We are also making the entire SRD 5.1 available under a Creative Commons license. You choose which you prefer to use. This is a win. Now, I realize there are some people out there who are super cynical and who are going to make comments about how don't believe it, don't fall for it, it's a trap. There very may well be some things down the road that they're going to continue to tweak. But as far as it doesn't affect the SRD, I don't care. And I don't think anyone does who was previously worried about it, because now they have made the SRD, the 5.1 SRD, which everyone has been using since 2016, and which is really the crux of the rules that were defined how those could be used in the OGL. Those are now all Creative Commons, which means you don't have to use the OGL if you don't want to anymore. And as they say here, you choose which you prefer to use. Making the SRD 5.1 available to the Creative Commons means that 5th edition rules are now out there forever for free for people to use however they see fit. So it's a very interesting scenario here where we did win. Now we don't know what else Wizards of the Coast is going to do. They've still got one D&D in the works. They're probably, if I had to guess, are going to come out with a new type of license for one D&D and everything they're doing with VTT and everything else. But for the moment, this is a win, and we should take it as a win. I think that other companies are making very good statements, like Paizo. Let me go find it here real quick. That's the wrong link. Paizo says, we welcome today's news from Wizards. You guys can't see that, can you? Hang on. I need to maybe minimize this tweet. There we go. That'll be a little bit better. We welcome today's news from Wizards of the Coast regarding their intention not to deauthorize OGL 1.A. We still believe that there is a powerful need for irrevocable, perpetual, independent, system-neutral open license that will serve the tabletop community via nonprofit stewardship. Work on the ORC license will continue, with an expected first draft to release for comment to participating publishers in February. I, for one, let me just put this out there because I have no problem saying this. I have been living under a lot of stress since the OGL announcements were made. We pulled the OGL out of our products. That was, a reactionary thing that I did, because it was like, you're not taking 25% of my revenue, and you're certainly not, I'm not going to give you a license back to any of my stuff. And then they softened the language and softened the language and softened the language. But I eventually said, I'm done with Wizards of the Coast. I'm done with the OGL. I'm moving all of our stuff to system agnostic. And then I said I'm fully supporting the ORC Alliance, and I am definitely interested in what they're building. I'm in their Discord. I'm very glad to be a part of that conversation. And I fully agree with them as well that there needs to be something firmly in place from a independent entity with nonprofit stewardship. I don't think that any of that is a bad thing. So I'm still definitely on board with what the ORC is doing, and I think that's the best way to move forward. That being said, I am going to give credit where credit is due, because much like what DM Dave is saying, for those of you concerned that the OGL thing might be a trick or a trap, don't worry. Our attorneys are already looking into it, but they've already put the 5.1 SRD into the Creative Commons, which is the craziest thing that I never thought I would see happen. But to make 100% sure we're protected, Noah Downs, which is Griffin Saddlebag, and some other creators are working on getting the association of third-party tabletop creators together to ensure that we're organized and ready for anything else that comes our way. So then he posted this huge win today against the whole OGL fiasco. Now is the time to heal and work together. Wizards did the right thing, and we should welcome it with humility. I absolutely second that. Rest assured, we are still vigilant, however. Noah Downs and other creators of the community and myself are working to create a third-party TTRPG Creators Association and ensure that nothing like this happens again. And if it does, we'll be ready and organized for it. DM Dave also had something else to say, which I think was very, very mature. I think it's this right here. So many people are in the comments of Wizards of the Coast saying too little, too late. But y'all, please remember that if this is the route the community takes, all we are telling big companies is that listening to public backlash and outcry isn't worth anything, and they might as well bulldoze us. And he goes on to then say, RE the backtrack, I agree. Yes, it sucked. In his particular case, he said, I lost a shit ton of sleep and spent a lot of money on legal fees, but not only did we get what we want, but then some. It's time to heal and move on. Prays his rifle on the ground and steps into no man's land. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for doing the right thing. Okay, so I think it's important in all of this, and I may butcher this pronunciation, but be magnanimous in victory. I believe that's the pronunciation of that word. In other words, be gracious, be humble. They stepped back from their position and they are now stepping away from the OGL 1.8, which is what most people who were up in arms about really cared about, was the whole trying to take away and deauthorize the OGL 1.8. They're no longer doing that. It's staying as is. You can keep using it. You can publish more material on it if you want to. You can do anything you want with it. But more than that, they put the entirety of the SRD 5.1 into Creative Commons. I don't think people understand what that means. That means that in no way, shape, or form will they ever be able to lay claim to these are Dungeons and Dragons rules, because they put it all out there in Creative Commons. So any of this ideas that people had about, well, theoretically they could always come back and try to say this, that, or the other. No, they can't. Not as far as the SRD 5.1 is concerned. That is all out there in Creative Commons already. It's already been done, which means it is permanently open for everyone to use in any way that they see fit based upon that Creative Commons license. That is a huge step, and I am going to give Wizards of the Coast credit for that step. That is a win. And for those of you who are cynical in nature, you don't have to take me for it. Don't have to take my word for it. DM Dave, guys like Ryan Dancy, one of the original architects of the OGL 1.0 and 1.0A, and as well as Paizo themselves, are all congratulating Wizards of the Coast for doing the right thing and agreeing to not deauthorize the OGL 1.0A. Is there more work to be done? Yes. Are they going to be doing more things? Yes, we don't know what those things are now, but at the very least, they have stepped away from the OGL 1.0A and are leaving it alone as untouched, and they have put the entirety of the SRD into Creative Commons. That's a huge win for everybody who has been upset with Wizards of the Coast. Am I going to go back to publishing our content on the OGL? No. Would I consider putting out additional 5th edition compatible or SRD 5.1 compatible content under the Creative Commons? As of this recording, based on the fact of what I understand Creative Commons to be, and the fact that the SRD 5.1 is out there now, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't want to. That being said, our book, the way we've got it written, is system agnostic for the moment. And I'm getting deep into Starfinder right now, and I'm interested to see what the ORC Alliance has coming in the pipeline. What is Kobold Press going to be coming up with? I'm learning, so like I said, I'm learning Starfinder. I'm going to be learning whatever Kobold Press puts out there. I am now in a weird position where before I only ever wanted to use D&D rules because that's what I grew up with and that's what I liked and that's what I was familiar with. And I saw somebody make a comment on one of my YouTube videos that was I'm going to say this, it was a very ignorant comment that they said that, stop being so tribal about your rule sets and get out there and try other systems. And it's like, there's nothing tribal about having something that you enjoy and continuing to use that thing that you enjoy. You don't need to go out and try 500 things when there's this one thing that you enjoy. Tribalism is when someone comes out and says, this system is the best system because I love it and I think it's the best system and every other system is inferior and therefore I'm never going to touch another system. That is not where I've been coming from. I've always come from, this is the system I grew up on. I grew up on Dungeons and Dragons. That's the system I learned. First edition, second edition. I skipped third, went to fifth, but I've always played D&D and I love D&D. However, this fiasco, at the very least, got me involved in the evolution of the tabletop space and opened my eyes to a lot of other systems that I want to try. And before I marry our tabletop setting to another rule set, I want to explore what's out there. It's not like you can't sell a product without a license attached to it or some sort of a rule set. Like, we literally have a system agnostic setting out there that people can plug into whatever rule set they want. I don't have to have a rule set associated with our tabletop setting, campaign, and modules. It just helps for people who want to be able to play it within a specific rule set if it's designed for that. But as of right now, it's not. And I have no plans to go back to anything related to the OGL at the moment. The SRD is there now, and if I decide at the end of the day that the SRD is going to be the best rule set that I want to design future tabletop content around, then I'll do that. But I'm also going to be looking at what the ORC Alliance puts together and what comes out of Pathfinder's 3rd edition. I don't know. I'm learning Starfinder right now, like I said earlier in the video. Kobold Press is their rule set. There's a lot of windows out there. And at the end of the day, though, I am going to give Wizards credit for this. It is a win for us, the community. And like Ryan Dancy said, shout out to all those people within Wizards of the Coast who fought for us. And as Paizo said, we welcome today's news from Wizards of the Coast. And as DM Dave says, we need to be magnanimous in victory. We need to be out there saying, accepting, as they say, in humility, I believe was the terminology they used here. Yeah, we should welcome the news with humility. I fully agree with that. So that's kind of where I stand as of right now. Is I'm going to take the win. I'm going to take it with humility. I'm going to say, thank you, Wizards of the Coast. I'm giving you credit where credit is due. Many people may still remain cynical about it. That's fine. I look forward to seeing where the conversation continues as you continue to work on 1D&D and whatever is going to be coming down the pipeline next for the Dungeons and Dragons brands and things like Dragonlance and Forgotten Realms. I look forward to all of that. So thank you so much for listening to people finally and realizing your mistake. I think it speaks volumes that you acknowledged that you made a mistake and you were at the end finally open enough to work with people on it. And when you saw that the overwhelming majority of people were telling you that you were wrong, you came out and said, you know what, you guys were right. We were wrong. Here's how we're going to fix this. We're going to put the SRD out there in the open, make it Creative Commons. There's no fear of us ever claiming copyright over rules ever again, because now the rules are out there, open for everyone, forever. And you can choose whether to use that or to use the OGL 1.8. It's up to you. Remains to be seen what they're going to be doing with any 1.2 language, if they're still pursuing the 1.2. I don't know if they're pursuing that for 6th edition, the 1D&D. Don't know, but for now, it's a win. I'm taking it. Thanks so much to everyone out there who voiced their support and participated in all the surveys and who have been participating in the live streams and all the videos on my channel, everybody else's channels, and helping make this happen, because this was because of the community. So shout out to all of you for being amazing people. Look forward to discussing this in greater detail with you guys on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time as I continue to gather more information over the weekend. So I'll see you tomorrow. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, support in any way you can as per all those things down below. Don't forget to check out the description with all the links to our Discord and our Patreon page. We'll see everybody tomorrow and in the next video. Cheers, everybody.